Missionaries of Christ presents Reflections. Sunday Readings and Gospel. Seventh Sunday in Ordinary Time. First reading. 1 Samuel chapter 26 verses 2, 7-9, 12-13, and 22-23. So Saul arose and went down to the wilderness of Ziph, with 3,000 chosen men of Israel, to seek David in the wilderness of Ziph. So David and Abishai went to the army by night, and there lay Saul sleeping within the encampment, with his spear stuck in the ground at his head, and Abner and the army lay around him. Then said Abishai to David, God has given your enemy into your hand this day, now therefore let me pin him to the earth with one stroke of the spear, and I will not strike him twice. But David said to Abishai, do not destroy him, for who can put forth his hand against the Lord's anointed, and be guiltless? So David took the spear and the jar of water from Saul's head, and they went away. No man saw it, or knew it, nor did any awake, for they were all asleep, because a deep sleep from the Lord had fallen upon them. Then David went over to the other side, and stood afar off on the top of the mountain, with a great space between them, and David made answer, Here is the spear, O king. Let one of the young men come over and fetch it. The Lord rewards every man for his righteousness and his faithfulness, for the Lord gave you into my hand today, and I would not put forth my hand against the Lord's anointed. Second reading. 1 Corinthians chapter 15 verses 45-49. Thus it is written, the first man Adam became a living being, the last Adam became a life-giving spirit. But it is not the spiritual which is first, but the physical, and then the spiritual. The first man was from the earth, a man of dust, the second man is from heaven. As was the man of dust, so are those who are of the dust, and as is the man of heaven, so are those who are of heaven. Just as we have borne the image of the man of dust, we shall also bear the image of the man of heaven. Gospel reading. Luke chapter 6 verses 27-38. But I say to you that here, love your enemies, do good to those who hate you, bless those who curse you, pray for those who abuse you. To him who strikes you on the cheek, offer the other also, and from him who takes away your coat do not withhold even your shirt. Give to everyone who begs from you, and of him who takes away your goods, do not ask them again. And as you wish that men would do to you, do so to them. If you love those who love you, what credit is that to you? For even sinners love those who love them. And if you do good to those who do good to you, what credit is that to you? For even sinners do the same. And if you lend to those from whom you hope to receive, what credit is that to you? Even sinners lend to sinners, to receive as much again. But love your enemies, and do good, and lend, expecting nothing in return, and your reward will be great, and you will be sons of the Most High, for he is kind to the ungrateful and the selfish. Be merciful, even as your Father is merciful. Judge not, and you will not be judged, condemn not, and you will not be condemned, forgive, and you will be forgiven, give, and it will be given to you, good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, will be put into your lap. For the measure you give will be the measure you get back. Reflection. The call to love our enemies and do good to those who hate us goes against our natural inclinations. It requires a profound shift in perspective and a deep reliance on God's grace. Jesus' teaching urges us to move beyond the limited scope of human reciprocity, where love and kindness are often conditional and transactional. Instead, we are called to embody a love that reflects the boundless mercy of God. Loving our enemies means seeing them through the eyes of God, recognizing their inherent dignity and worth despite their actions. It involves a willingness to forgive and to seek reconciliation, even when it is difficult. This kind of love is transformative, not only for those who receive it, but also for those who give it. It breaks the cycle of hatred and retaliation, offering the possibility of healing and renewal. Jesus' command to turn the other cheek, to give generously without expecting anything in return, and to refrain from judgment and condemnation, challenges us to live out our faith in practical and often countercultural ways. It calls us to trust in God's justice and to leave vengeance in His hands. By loving our enemies and showing mercy, we become true children of the Most High, reflecting His character in our lives. God's kindness extends to the ungrateful and the selfish, and we are called to mirror that same grace. This radical love and mercy create a community where forgiveness, generosity, and compassion are the norm. Ultimately, this teaching reminds us that the measure we use towards others will be the measure we receive. By embracing a spirit of generosity and forgiveness, we open ourselves to receive God's abundant blessings, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. This passage challenges us to live in a way that defies the logic of the world, embodying the divine love that transforms hearts and communities.